Hi there, and welcome to Module 2, where we talk about flipped video prerequisites. So in the last module, Module 1, where we chatted more about prerequisites to flipping in general, this one is where we'll really talk about video creation. So in Lesson 1, we're setting the stage. Okay, so again, we're going to kind of talk about different ways that you can kind of prepare yourself for that video production or video creation in your flipped classroom. So in this lesson, you will learn the benefits of capturing from your web camera, and you'll learn the important aspects of video creation, including audio, lighting, and angle. So let's get to it. I want you to make this decision right now, and the first one being web camera or no web camera. That is the question. And again, I want you to make this decision right now. Well, after I give you some suggestions, of course. Yes, I have an opinion, and I will share that with you here, but you do what you are comfortable with and what you think is best for your students in your situation. If you are a super mom or dad on the go at umpteen practices and lessons every evening, or recording in the morning is just not an option for you, where you can establish that one spot to record, which we'll talk about, again, you do what works for you. So here's what I recommend. I recommend that you use a web camera. I have a strong opinion around this one, but that does not mean that every one of my flip videos includes me on the web camera in the corner, right? Sometimes it just didn't work out, whether that was due to my camera issues or I just didn't want to put on makeup that day or do my hair on a Saturday. But here's why a good majority of my flip videos include me in the corner. And this is what seeing you as the teacher does. Number one, students would see you in the traditional classroom, so you want that here in your flipped classroom as well. You want to simulate what they have known so that it doesn't feel all that foreign to them. Number two, there is no doubt that it's your video they are watching, right? Especially at the beginning of the school year, and they watch your first few videos. You want there to be no doubt that it's yours. Number three, they see your animation around what is probably your favorite topics. You probably love what you teach. It's easier to share and for your students to experience your love of that topic if they can see you. Number four, not to mention, they'll get more of a feel of your personality, especially if you are a lover of sarcasm. They'll be able to pick up on those cues that many of them already struggle to pick up on. And number five, lastly, and here's my psychology-oriented brain coming out, context effects are everything. They are going to see you when they are working with the content in class. So if they see you when they are encoding the information in the first place, probably at home on the video, it's best if they see you there as well. All right, and the second thing I want to talk to you about is audio. So we talked about web camera, and again, you do you. Choose what works best for you. You know what I recommend. The second one, though, that is probably more important is audio. So first things first, audio is way more important than your web camera. Not by a long shot, but it's definitely more important because if they can't hear you clearly, they are going to just give up on the video and even this whole flipping thing, and you don't want that to happen. It's important not to create any hurdles for your students in watching your videos and getting the content in a way that is not overly difficult. It won't be easy, but you don't want it to be difficult. Learning isn't easy, but they'll get the whole process down, and the process of taking flip notes will be a well-oiled machine. Just hang in there. So what do you need for audio? You'll want to test the audio of your computer that you'll be recording from. I recommend doing this in the software that you'll be using to record your videos, which we talk about in the next lesson. So if you want to do this, when you know what software you'll be using, that will totally work. Once you test it, if it is at all muffled and not crystal clear, I'm not talking quality podcast clear, but definitely quality YouTube video clear, then I suggest getting a very affordable, simple USB mic from Amazon. I've linked the one that I use along with some other options in the PDF guide of this lesson, so be sure to get those links. The second one, or I guess it's the third one from audio or from the beginning, right, is lighting. Now, this one does not apply if you are not recording from your web camera. If you're doing audio only, you don't need this one. But for those of you who are using your webcam, lighting is the second important aspect of video recording. But don't jump the gun here and think you need a fancy studio with fancy umbrella lighting on tripods. Nope, don't do that. You just need to sit next to a window with natural lighting. If you're recording at night, just sit next to a lamp that is in front of or directly beside you or beside your face, not behind you. Overhead lighting isn't the most flattering, but if that's not super important to you, that's totally fine. Just make sure they can clearly see your face. To see what your webcam is capturing before you record, although you can totally just record some and see how it shows up, there are ways you can test what it's capturing and make changes to your lighting and seating before you hit record. We'll get into how to do that in our next lesson when we learn about recording software. All right, so my numbering is a little off here, but the third, really it's the fourth one, is set yourself up. Well, your computer. This is where a stack of books comes in handy because that's exactly what I use. Again, nothing fancy here, but you want to prop up your camera so that kids aren't staring at your chin looking up at you. You want them to be almost, if not right on, eye level. It's easier for them to see your face, not to mention, again, more flattering for you. The last thing I want to bring to your attention is this statement I've made before: content is king. I mentioned this in the webinar, but it's important to say it here. Content really is king in the flipped classroom videos. Just a quick sidebar, I don't necessarily think this about education overall. In fact, I don't believe that content is king in education overall. But in the flipped classroom, as far as your flipped videos go, it is. You do not need all kinds of fanciness going on for your videos to be good. Focus on the content. The rest will follow. That's a mantra I tell my students all the time when they are worried about their grades. It applies here too. Make sure your slides are informative, but not too cluttered. And more importantly, make sure what you say is concise and valuable, meaning don't just read from the slides. We'll talk about this more in the next module when we work on developing our slides, but it's important to mention here because you don't need a fancy setup. Make sure they can hear you clearly, and the rest is just extension. Remember, content is king in flipped videos. All right, so in lesson number 1 of module 2, you learned about the benefits of capturing from your web camera, and you now know that that's what I recommend, but again, you do what you're comfortable with. And then you also learned about the important aspects of video creation, including audio, lighting, and angle, right? If you're using your web camera, you don't want them looking at you from here, right? You want them prop it up, right? Prop that computer up on a stack of books. I have mine propped up right now on my planner, but here's the thing. I'm recording from a web camera over here, not from my computer. So I'll kind of show you what my setup can look like in our Facebook group. Now, here's your take action now piece. Decide if you'll use your built-in web camera or buy a decent and affordable one. Mine was I think less than $20 on Amazon. See the links in the PDF guide that I link for you where you're watching this video and for this lesson. Make sure you use those links because those are good, affordable ones. And then set your stage. Decide on audio. Use the link if you don't like your computer audio, use the link for a mic that I give you. Establish a good spot with decent lighting. That could be on the edge of your couch where you have a lamp that's kind of beside or in front of your face. But I would recommend that it be by a window, right? There's a window over there. That's why I'm pointing. And then finally, prop up that web camera. Get that good angle. So in lesson 2 of module 2, so in that next lesson, you're going to learn all about some options of software to record your videos. And it's feeling even more real now, right? So we'll get into the nitty-gritty of software that I recommend and that I have used for years and years. So we'll see you. You can go ahead and click below and we'll see you in lesson 2.